What are we doing today, Al? You gonna get to work or what? No? Alright. I'll do it. What's up, guys? Today we're gonna be doing a little bit more maintenance on Liam. Last video that we did, we found a bunch of crap in the tank and we cleaned that out as much as we could. We cleaned out the filter as well, but we ran the car before we realized all of that crap was in there. So more than likely, there's a bunch of debris in the injectors as well. I think the filter caught the majority of it, but there's still gonna be some that's in there. So if you remember the last time we went to clean the injectors over at Randy's to use the sonic cleaner and flow test them and everything, the majority of what we cleaned out was in filters that were in the top hat and the injector itself. Instead of sending them off this time because I'm lazy and I wanted to race this weekend, I just got some stuff from Randy. He sent me a little care package that will enable us to pull those filters out and swap them out. So we're gonna pull those filters out, see how gunked up they are. So hopefully, between changing out the filters and spraying out the injector itself, hopefully we're back to pretty much normal. Last time we did these, the flow went right back up to where it was supposed to be once the filters were cleaned in those injectors. So I think that's where the majority of the cleaning actually happens. I don't know, don't yell at me. I'm not saying do this. I should have sent them off to actually get cleaned and flowed, but what I'm gonna do instead is clean them this way and then probably just target a pretty rich air-fuel ratio so that I know the leanest cylinder out of all of them will still be a decent air-fuel ratio. That means it's not ideal air-fuel ratio on every single cylinder, but it's gonna be safe across the board. Worst case scenario, if I target richer than I need to, then the cylinders that are fine with injectors that are completely clean are going to be a little bit richer than the ones that are a little bit leaner. Maybe there's still a little bit of debris in there, or it doesn't flow quite as much. Those are still gonna be fine because we're targeting a richer air-fuel ratio than we actually need. So the leanest cylinder should still be okay. Yeah, don't do that. Send your injectors out, get them cleaned if at all possible. But if you're in a pinch, you can go ahead and do this. But I'm not saying do it. Just saying you could if you wanted to. So here is the care package that Randy sent over. It's just an assortment of some O-rings for the injectors that we were using, and then 2 styles of the filters that go in there. So, oh, and then also the tool to actually remove those filters out nice and easy. Thank you, Randy. And I don't have a table. We forgot it at our last house, so this is my table now. The benefits of having a truck. All right, so we've shown this in the past, so I'm not gonna go through it or even do a time lapse of it. We'll just cut to actually after I have these all out, but just need to undo these clips or unplug the injectors, and then there's 2 bolts that hold the rail in there. We'll lift the rail up and then slide the injectors out of the rail or the manifold, whichever one they decide to stay in. Leak a bunch of fuel everywhere, have a good time. And then we will put them over on the table, get them all taken apart, and start changing out the filters. All right, so we got the first ones out here. When I was pulling them out, the bottom hat came off, so I figured it might be interesting for some of you guys. Depending on what injectors you use, it might not be like this. This is actually as small as the injector body is, and it stacks together like that. So you got the top hat that adds some height and has the right diameter for going into the fuel rail. And then that little retainer clip holds the hat onto there, and then this part is the part that actually goes into the manifold, and that has a little O-ring that sits right here and seals in there. So this whole thing together looks like that, like a regular size, LS1 length injector, but the injector body itself is actually really tiny. The filters that we're talking about are, it's going to be hard for you to see, but that little hole in there is actually a little filter. I'll pull it out right now and show you guys what it looks like. So we got the first filter out. It is actually surprisingly clean. I thought they were gonna be way worse than this. Last time we took these out, I mean, they were just caked black. I couldn't even blow through them. This doesn't really have a whole lot of dirt. So that new filter that we're using for the main fuel system filter is awesome. It's doing a good job at saving these. I'm gonna change them out anyway because, I mean, it can't hurt and it's easier than trying to clean them, but this tool is really cool. Here, let me try to take this off real quick. All right, so that's the filter that came out. You see it's a little mangled up now. But yeah, this tool is pretty cool because you just screw it until that tip comes out a little bit. You screw the body of it in, which turns that screw into the filter, digs into the plastic, and then you screw this bottom piece of it and it retracts that. So it just pulls that filter right out. It's pretty cool. Very, very useful. I'm gonna change these all the damn time now. So basically we're gonna take one of the new filters and pop it in there and tap it flush, and then we're good to go. But good to put this one, well, good as far as the filters go, but we're still gonna clean the injector itself. But I'm really surprised to see so little dirt in there, so this is motivating. Won't have to be too crazy about cleaning the bodies. All right, so we just tapped the new filter in there, made sure it was flush with the top. Had to give it a good whack. It was actually kind of weird tapping so hard on it, but it is a pretty tight press fit in there. So yeah, so this one should be good to go now. We'll do the same thing to the other hats, pull those filters out, swap them out for new ones, and then we'll get to cleaning the bodies. I just used a 9-volt battery, a couple of wires that plug into the injector plug itself. Not sure if you can hear that clicking. Yeah, so I just tied the wires to here, held it open, and sprayed the shit out of it until it was nice and clean. All right, so we got the injectors all cleaned up and back in. Greased up the rear suspension. It still squeaks. I took the fuel filter out as well. So on that note, it's time to go testing. Let's see how far off we are in this much, much better air. All right guys, bear with me. There's gonna be some pretty significant time gaps in this video, not a crazy amount of footage of the actual racing. Like I said, we were going to test after we got the truck ready, and we took it out, met up with our friend Robert. He helped us out with, getting to the spots and, the do's and don'ts of the areas. And we blew out the flex pipe. I wonder how long that's actually been like that. I mean, not that bad, but bad. Just burst a hole in it. Might have been leaking for a long time, but we proper blew it out. Robert was nice enough to let us take the truck over to his place, and we rigged up a solid piece of pipe in its place. Keep in mind, this was at like 3 in the morning, or no, probably even later than that. I think it was probably about 4 in the morning. I had to take Tanya home because we were gonna be out all day, pretty much the following day, and she needed to get some rest. So I drove all the way back to the house, then back to Robert's. He fixed up the pipe for me. Didn't even test it out or anything. Literally just put the pipe on. As long as it lined up, we were good. And trailered it to the meet spot for the race. So this race was at 7 in the morning, and it's a no trailer race. So we meet up, you can trailer to the actual spot, but we meet up there, and then for the rest of the race, regardless of whether we have to switch spots or stay in that same spot, you must drive to the racing. And actually, I didn't have anybody with me, so I actually had to drive back to the trailer too. Everybody else brought their trailers with them so that when the race was done, they just loaded up. I missed that memo, and I couldn't have done it anyway, because Tanya was exhausted after one day, so I don't think she was gonna make it through the next one. But anyway, so bear with me. There's a little bit of footage here. If you wanna see the full race video, I'm sure 660 Street will have their footage up soon. So yeah, here's what we got. I've been up a while. Tired. Dirty. Got boogers in my nose. How to get a lift? Preview of what's to come, I guess. Let's go that way. I'm new, I don't know what to do. Alright, so we did a bunch of testing last night. Didn't go very well. We broke the flex tube. So we had to go to a friend's shop to fix it. Stayed up all night, but it seems to be holding, so I think we're gonna be okay. Although all of the testing that we did was with that giant leak, So I don't know what boost it's going to go up to. I don't know if it's going to be more responsive on the ramp. Literally everything is kind of starting from scratch. So I'm gonna do one. Tricky. Thanks. Good luck. Thanks. All right, so I got lucky, and the guy that I was racing had to pedal it a lot, overpowered the road a little bit, and got even luckier because when we went back to draw chips, I got the bye. So I got a bye into the final. The two guys are racing right now, and then I'm gonna make a test pass, just try to. I couldn't even hear the car. Like, I couldn't hear mine. I was pedaling based on his noise because it was so freaking loud next to me. So I'm gonna do another pass, basically the same as the one that I did first, and see if I need to make any changes based off of that.
Rubber down for him.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I got you.
It'd be an advantage for him to have the rubber down. It'd be different if you already knew what lane you're getting things around, but
Yeah.
they can move both of y'all up. 2 squares, so you're pretty much starting on an equal surface now.
Yeah.
You put rubber down and you don't get that lane, you can fuck yourself.
I gotta soften it up then a lot. Yeah, actually no, I can't make one because I'm not ready for that surface.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't make one anyway because then you're going to give away advantage.
Yeah. All right, guys, I don't know if you heard that, but guy in the left lane put some fluid down. So they're gonna move the line up, so we're still gonna race, but the problem is that is much less rubber on the surface. So if I go and do a burnout on that surface, yes, I get data, but I also put rubber down in a lane that I might not get. So I could give him the advantage by launching on my rubber and be put in a lane that is fresh. So not to mention the calibration that's in it right now is not ready for that surface. So it does me no good to make a pass as it sits. definitely possible to have won that, but I left late and I targeted too much boost in end of first gear going into second. Carried the spin, had to do a huge pedal. No bueno. So I got treed really bad. No, overall the race was awesome. I had a really good time. That's exactly the type of race that I wanted to do. That's the type that I like. They give a significant cruise to make sure that your car is actually a street car. I wouldn't even mind if it was a little bit longer. It felt a little bit short actually. But yeah, and then you race. And so it helps kind of force, actual street-ish cars into the race. So I had a good time. We struggled with the road a little bit. I got a little bit spoiled from the first spot that we tested at last night. It was concrete. It was really good. And I saw concrete at the spot that we went to for this race, and I thought, well, it's got to be pretty good. It's got to be better than asphalt, right? Because I had never seen this type of concrete. It was, the lines were like vertical in it, and they were pretty deep. So I should have known right there that there's not a whole lot of surface area on the tire. The only place that it's going to have any kind of significant grip is when there's enough rubber to fill those gaps so that you have a solid surface to go on, which was only available for maybe 20 feet at the most, probably more like 10 feet. So tricky road. I should have treated it like asphalt. Overshot a little bit on the first run, and on the second run, overshot it again, even though I took some power out. But we moved that starting line forward, so I had less rubber to get the initial hit on. So I took out the initial hit, but I left the ramp in. I wasn't really thinking. I was tired. I definitely should have slowed down the ramp as well as the launch characteristics, but I just wasn't thinking straight. So yeah, overpowered that as well, and got treed pretty hard. I mean, that dude, whether he was guessing or just really fast, he did it good. I don't care. And some people get mad when people guess. No, the risk is worth the reward. If you're good at guessing, you can read cues, or you're just lucky as shit, by all means, guess away. Because the downside to that is you lose before the race even happens. I mean, I've done it when there's a scenario. I don't think he had to guess against me. I think it would have been a great race. I think he still might have got me because I overpowered the road in second gear. But I would guess if I absolutely needed to. If I'm going against somebody where there is no possible way to win unless they make two mistakes, and I get a good light, then I'm gonna jump because it's worth a lot. Or not jump, but I'm gonna guess and risk the jump because it's worth a ton, and it can really balance out two drastically different vehicles. But like I said, there were some other people out there videoing. 660 will have it, so check that out. And yeah, don't forget to share this out. Make sure you are subscribed and give the video a like, comment, let me know what you thought. And we're going to start working on some significant stuff here pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. We'll talk about it more in the next video. Anyways, thanks. See you next time.